All right, so we're back for another deep dive. You guys send us so many of these game summaries after you watch the NBA each night, and we thought today we'd dig into this welcome to today.pdf that you sent our way.
Yeah. Looks like a pretty good summary of 5 of the key games that happened last night.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it now, and even from just glancing at these scores, it looks like there's a lot to unpack here. Some
Yeah,
real blowouts, some games that went down to the wire. So,
definitely. Yeah, a lot of different styles of play on display last night and some interesting matchups too. You've got teams at the top of their conferences facing off against teams that are, maybe trying to find their footing.
exactly. So we're going to go through each of these games. We're going to pull out the big takeaways for you, what you need to know about what happened last night and what it might mean for the rest of the season.
Yeah, forget the play-by-play. We're not going to bore you with all those details. We're going to get right to the heart of what these results tell us about the league right now.
Exactly. So the first game on our list is the Knicks taking on the Kings. And wow, right off the bat, a pretty decisive win for the Knicks, 133 to 104.
Yeah, you don't see that kind of score difference
Yeah.
too often in the NBA, especially not this late in the season. So clearly something was clicking for the Knicks on offense.
Yeah, looking at the notes here, Julius Randle really stood out for them. It sounds like he was just unstoppable scoring inside and out, hitting threes.
Yeah, he's really become a complete player, hasn't he? He can
Yeah.
hurt you in so many ways, and it sounds like the Kings just didn't have an answer for him no matter what they tried.
They did mention Darren Fox putting up a good fight for the Cams.
Oh, for sure. Fox is a super talented guard.
Yeah.
He can fill it up. But it sounds like he was a classic case of one star versus a whole team effort.
Mhm.
The Knicks were just more cohesive.
So the takeaway there, I think, is the Knicks showed us a glimpse of what they're capable of when their offense is clicking. They've got a lot of weapons, and when they're all firing, they can be a really tough team to beat.
Definitely. Yeah. And it makes you wonder if this is a sign of things to come for the Knicks.
Yeah.
They're finally turning a corner, becoming a team that can make some noise in the playoffs.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Warriors versus the Trailblazers. And man, this one was a shootout, 130 to 120 Warriors win.
Anytime you see Steph Curry going up against Dame Lillard, you're in for a high-scoring game.
For sure, both of those guys can just take over a game with their scoring.
Yeah, it's like a video game out there sometimes when they get going.
Yeah, but the report mentions that it wasn't just Curry, it was Klay Thompson hitting some big shots as well.
Right. Clay's been kind of up and down this season, but when he's on like that, it makes the Warriors almost impossible to guard because you've got to worry about both of them and then, Draymond Green setting them up.
Yeah, they're such a well-oiled machine when they're all clicking.
But, got to give credit to Lillard. He apparently had a huge game, too. Kept the Blazers in it almost single-handedly for a while there.
Yeah, he's such a competitor, never gives up.
But in the end, the Warriors made some key defensive adjustments in the second half, and that seemed to be the difference.
Yeah, they've got that championship DNA. They know how to win close games.
So I think the main takeaway there is even when the Warriors aren't at their absolute best, they can still find ways to win. They're a resilient team.
All right, moving on to the Mavericks taking on the Spurs. And wow, another close one, 133 to 129 Mavs.
Yeah, this one sounds like it was a back-and-forth battle all night long.
And not surprisingly, Luka Doncic was at the center of it all.
Sure.
Another monster game from him.
Yeah, what else is new, right? The guy's just incredible.
Seriously, I mean, his court vision, his passing, his scoring, it's like he's playing a different sport sometimes.
Yeah, and the Spurs, they don't really have anyone who can match up with him one-on-one.
The notes mention that Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell played well for the Spurs. But...
Yeah, those guys are solid young players, but they're not on Luka's level yet.
And in the end, it was Doncic who hit the big shots down the stretch to seal the win for the Mavs.
Yeah, it's like they just give him the ball and say, go win us the game.
So for the Mavs, I guess the takeaway is they're still very much reliant on Doncic to carry them. But hey, if he keeps playing like this, they'll be a tough out in the playoffs.
For sure. But you do wonder what happens if he has an off night or if a team figures out a way to slow him down.
All right, next up, we've got another nail-biter. Grizzlies versus Suns, 120 to 118. Grizzlies win.
Oh, man, this one sounds like it was a classic.
Two of the most exciting young teams in the league going at it.
Yeah, John Morant versus Devin Booker. That's a matchup I could watch every night.
For real, both those guys are so explosive, so much talent.
Yeah, and it sounds like they both brought their A game last night.
Yeah, John Morant just unstoppable getting to the basket, finishing through contact.
Yeah, he's like a human highlight reel.
But Booker was matching him shot for shot, hitting some huge threes down the stretch.
It's amazing how much poise those guys have for being so young.
Yeah.
They're not afraid of the big moments.
And apparently it was a really physical game, too. Both teams fighting for every rebound, every loose ball.
Yeah, those kinds of games are just so much fun to watch. Every possession matters.
And in the end, it was the Grizzlies who made a few more plays down the stretch. Got some key stops on defense.
Yeah, defense wins championships, right?
They say that for a reason.
So I think the takeaway here is just how competitive the Western Conference is right now.
Yeah.
Any given night, any team can beat anyone.
Absolutely. And it makes the playoff race that much more exciting.
For sure.
Okay, last game on our list, the Bulls taking on the Pacers. And this one wasn't quite as close. 121 to 103 Bulls.
Yeah, it looks like the Bulls took care of business in this one.
The report says Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan were both cooking, combining for over 60 points.
Yeah, those two are such a dangerous scoring duo when they're both on.
Yeah.
That it's tough for any team to stop them.
And apparently the Pacers just couldn't keep up with them offensively.
Yeah, I mentioned Miles Turner and Tyrese Halliburton playing well for the Pacers, but it sounds like it wasn't enough.
So the big takeaway here is the Bulls are a really good team when they're playing together like that. They've got the talent to compete with anyone in the East.
Definitely. Yeah, they're a team to watch out for.
So that's it for our deep dive into last night's NBA action. We saw a little bit of everything: blowouts, close games, offensive explosions, defensive battles.
Oh, yeah. It's a great end of basketball overall.
And it just goes to show, the NBA season is a marathon, not a sprint. Every game matters. Every win, every loss can have an impact on the playoff race.
Exactly. So you got to stay tuned all the way to the end because you never know what's going to happen.
So for you, the listener, I want to leave you with this. What do you think, which of these games had the most significance for the bigger picture of the season?
Yeah. Was it the Knicks asserting themselves as a contender or the Warriors showing their championship medal?
Maybe it was the Mavs proving they can win close games even when Doncic is carrying the load, or the Grizzlies and Suns battling it out for playoff positioning.
Or maybe it was the Bulls reminding everyone that they're a force to be reckoned with.
It's something to think about as we head into the final stretch of the season. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
We'll see you next time.
See